So what we're going to be doing today is Navisworks, the 5D project management workspace. So what we're going to look at today is our Navisworks overview, what is Navisworks, and the coordination tools within this Navisworks environment that we are going to be using. The BIM timeline and quantification workflows. So what is Navisworks? Navisworks is a project review tool used in architecture, engineering, and construction to bring together models from various sources. This enables various teams and disciplines to collaborate effectively. It's known for its clash detection, which helps identify conflicts in construction and 4D scheduling, which allows teams to visualize projects in real time. With support from multiple formats, Navisworks ensures compatibility across disciplines, streamlining project coordination. Teams can visualize the project sequence, track progress, and make sure everything is scheduled and reducing risk and time and cost. In short, it's a powerful way to keep everyone aligned and ensure the project stays on track. So, one of its standout features is Clash Detective. The feature allows for detecting and resolving conflicts between the various disciplines through MEP, electrical, etc., etc. The process begins by loading models into the Navisworks workspace, running clash tests between components, and ensuring that there are no clashes between the various disciplines. For example, it'll check duplicate walls where MEP is clashing within that space, the plumbing, electrical, to ensure that when it gets on site, there are no unforeseen situations, unforeseen circumstances that could lead to a cost implication. By linking Revit, Navisworks, and the various programs in, it allows everyone within the industry, within their tools, Civil 3D, etc., to be able to work in a workspace without having to worry about if it's compatible. Navisworks does that for you. Clash tests include the different disciplines, mechanical, architecture. You select the various objects, and then you create a clash issue. So this issue gets taken to whichever platform you're using. It can go into your Revit, it can go into your ACC platform. ACC is a platform that we'll go into at another time, but it's something where everyone can put all their stuff together, all the issues come up, and every discipline within that environment gets an issue, you solve it, and you update your model, and then that goes on to your ACC. Everyone can upload that model, and basically everyone is in the same space in terms of where are our issues, what are our clashes, etc., etc. Next one is 4D timeline integration. 4D modeling integrates time as the fourth dimension. It's a traditional 3D process which enhances project management and coordination. When we look at schedule imports, Navisworks lets us import projects from schedules directly from various programs, Excel, Microsoft projects. This allows us to visualize our time frames and allows for the phases to be correctly identified and built into your model, your Navisworks. So when changes come about, those changes are easily reflected on your timeline and in your processes. So model synchronization is another thing that Navisworks does have. So what happens is the moment you update your model and you bring it into Navisworks, it updates automatically. You don't have to worry about if those changes are identified within every discipline. And then the timeline shifts, the timeline adjusts based on how many columns you have, how many walls you have, where in the phases you have those walls. It'll automatically update that. Timeline visualization. So you can allows for to visualize the sequence of construction. We can track each element that is added. We can track the progression from start to finish, the date where everything needs to be. As you can see, it'll tell you level 1 construction at 75%, level 3 construction at 50%. You know where you stand in your project. Lastly, we're going to look at progress tracking. These features within Navisworks empowers teams to deliver projects on time, within schedule, reducing costs, limiting on-site confusion. If there's an update, it happens. So my favorite one is the animator. So Navisworks Animator creates detailed animations of construction processes, equipments, movements, site setup, sequencing. It allows the team can simulate the construction process within a 3D model space for better planning and visualization. The animator creates camera views where you can walk through your site, walk through your building. You can place your machinery where you need it to be. Your hoarding will be, situated where you need to be before you start the process on site. As you can see in the animation, they have when are they going to be moving the cranes, when they're going to be disassembling the cranes. This is something that becomes quite important for larger projects, where you have to make sure that your crane, which is, you spend money a day on just a crane, making sure that it's disassembled and something can continue in another part of the site in order to get that workflow going. This helps improves coordination within the team. It allows everyone to be on board, know what's happening at every given stage of the project. For example, if you see on the animation, it says construction week 204, you have to relocate the crane to the next spot. Your managers, your site, your architects, your engineers know their drawings have to be at a certain level, everything has to be within a certain time frame. And this allows people to, the team, to see where we are at each individual moment, time, processes. So this is just a very simple way of communicating to the whole team how this process works. Well, I'm going to just pass it over to Atlegang.
For this next sequence, we're going to look at the evolution of timelines within the construction industry. So I'm pretty sure everybody is familiar with the 3D timeline, which involves basically a geometric representation of the physical structure, including all its components and materials. And then a 4D timeline it adds an element of time to the 3D model. So it allows project managers to visualize the construction schedule, and it helps in planning and sequencing the tasks to optimize the construction project. When it comes to 5D now incorporates the data costs into the model, and it enables the stakeholders to analyze the financial aspect of the project in relation to the timeline. It also allows for real-time estimation and budget management throughout the construction phase. Now with Navisworks, it's quite easy to calculate the 5D timeline, as all you'd have to do is import the model, the Revit model, into Navisworks, as long as the model is quantified correctly within Revit from the schedules. Once you put it into Navisworks, the Navisworks will immediately quantify all the elements within the 3D model and input it into a schedule aligned with the costs, which can be exported into Excel, where the quantity surveyor can now total up the costs of everything. Moving on, it's quite easy to move what the model has been quantified as from Navisworks into Excel. This makes it an easier workflow for the quantity surveyor, because now they don't have to do every single aspect or material or component individually. Navisworks does it for you, as long as all the model is modeled correctly and everything is labeled correctly and scheduled correctly within Revit in itself. Once that has been done, Navisworks can automate the cost. Once the initial cost of one component has been input into Navisworks, it can calculate all the quantities, all the materials needed, and how much time it will be needed to build this on site. Once that is done, you can export the quantification sheet from Navisworks into Excel, from Excel into PDF. And then now, looking back again at the timeline, once you've done the quantification in Navisworks from the start, you can input now when you plan on starting certain processes. For instance, the excavation, you can input when you plan to end it, and you can input the material cost, the equipment cost, the subcontractor cost, the total cost. You can also input the machinery as well, when it needs to be serviced after how many weeks. And this will all create a timeline where you can visualize, like Claire said, in the animation, so that as you look at, especially for the stakeholders who don't necessarily see the bigger picture of what happens on the construction site and why a project is taking so long, in meetings, you can kind of show them through the visual timeline with all the data showing on this particular date, we are doing this, it's going to cost us this much, this machinery is 2 weeks from needing repairs or servicing. And this is just a 3D time lapse of how the timeline is incorporated into the animation and how it shows on which particular day, what costs are necessary, what machinery is necessary, how much the contractor is charging that day. As you can see, on the top right, it gives us the date, it gives us the material cost, it gives us the labor cost, the equipment cost, and the subcontractor cost for every single phase of the construction. And right underneath, it also shows you the time lapse of how long these particular tasks are going to take and the total cost as well.
Okay, so basically Navisworks, to round off, Navisworks is a contractor's tool. It's therefore the architect, the engineer, the subcontractors, MEP, services, just to be a place where financial situations are handled, the cost of the project, the workflow of the project, the timelines of the project. It is a project manager's dream. Thank you. Are there any questions?
I have one. The information on the clash detection, when it's been identified in Navisworks, how does that get pulled through into your software like Revit? Is it with a visual representation? Like for instance, if you go to ACC where you do clash detection through ACC, you log a design issue or whatever with a node on your project model, where it gives you a call out with the information related to that clash. How does that then translate back into Revit? How would you identify it without going back to Navisworks? Or do you need to then export a schedule of clashes to your design team to have them then identify it manually throughout the project? Or
okay, so for ACC, it will automatically update and it'll become an issue like you normally work in the ACC environment. For Revit, there's a switchback tool that you download, and then all those issues switch back into Revit. So you'll pick up those issues within the Revit model,
okay,
and you can sort of identify and fix those.
Awesome, thank you.
Build Smart, is it also compatible with can you also import like MS Project?
MS Project into Navisworks?
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
But then what about Build Smart? CCS.
I can get back to you on that. We'll have a chat afterwards. I'll ask my team members, and I'll get back to you. But I know it is compatible with Primavera, Excel, you can bring that in, XML, CVS. So there's a lot of them, so I'm definitely sure it would be able to bring that in.